Well, hello there. If you stumbled onto this channel and you like Halloween, well, you're in the right location. If you're new to the channel, my name's Todd. I'm going to head over to Aaron's house. Aaron is my partner in crime when it comes to all things Halloween. We haven't hung out probably for 2 or 3 months. Going to have a little fun tonight. Probably be hanging out at the Roost, which is where he has his annual Halloween parties. So while there, we'll probably do a little shop talk. And by that, I mean we'll probably review last year's Halloween party and start planning for this year's Halloween party. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around. Talk to you soon.
It definitely exceeded our expectations. We had a time crunch, a financial crunch.
Like Aaron said, it was a crunch this year. We had like several social gatherings. Aaron more than I did. You know, he's a young guy. I'm a little older guy. So he has a lot of younger friends there. They all decided to get married this year. So we were like kind of thinking what the hell we're going to do. But we figured it out.
There was a lot of extra details that came into play this year. We focused a lot more on the finer details. The finer details are what really make the party itself. A lot of people focus on big details, but when you leave out the big details, people will draw to the small ones to see how it all ties together.
Yeah. And I agree with that. Like you were saying, normally we would focus on trying to do like a lot. We would try to focus on doing like the outside where people walk into and then the inside. And this year, because of the time constraints, we made most of our focus on the inside and condensed everything. And this just turned out to be really cool. And I'll do a pan here later on, and we'll talk about the individual pieces of props that we have, because Aaron still has all this stuff pretty well set up here. Even though you're looking at the back here, we took a lot of the stuff down here, but I'll pan over here on the side, and you'll see a lot of the cool stuff that we have, and we'll talk about that and how we did it. But I think it just really turned out pretty good this year. The Haunted Mansion is what we did this year, and everybody thought it was really good.
Things came together pretty quickly. There was a lot of hours spent on fine detail, like I said, but we really didn't have a whole lot of time in big projects or really a whole lot of weeks together. We kind of focused a lot on individual projects, and things came together pretty quick.
And normally how we work is that we'll come up with an idea, and we'll have the grand idea, and then Aaron will take a couple projects, and then I'll take a couple projects that I'll work on solo, and he'll work on solo. And then we try to spend maybe 3 or 4 days, evenings, where we get together and we kind of put everything together, and then on that final night is when we kind of put the final touches on it. So that's what we did this year. But like I said, I think this year was our fifth Halloween party.
Yep.
I didn't stress as much.
I know I didn't.
And you didn't, and it just kind of came together. And I think a lot of that is because we kind of recycle, reuse, like how we talk about. Especially when I show you the wall over here. The wall was already built, and we had used that for the pirate theme, so it looked like a cage.
Yep.
With the pirates in it. So Aaron just basically took and put some more foam on the wall, and then he decked it out and built the fireplace, which we'll show you. So it actually came together really well. So what I'll do is I'll do a pan, and we'll kind of show you what's left of the Haunted Mansion here, and then we'll maybe talk about the details.
So what we have here, we have your standard bookshelf. Basically, you just take some 2x4s, cut them to your desired length, your desired width. Behind it for the backing, we have your 1/4-inch OSB board. You could use whatever thickness that you desire. Some spray paint. I chose brown. You can choose whatever you want. You can stain it if you'd like. For the books, I bought this foam. It's a pretty hard foam. I used an X-Acto knife to cut it. You can buy a hot wire knife on Amazon. I chose not to. X-Acto knife will work. And acrylic paint. Acrylic paint is important because it covers and it dries pretty quick. For some of the finer detail on the books, I use paint markers. They sell them in various thicknesses and widths. You can buy fine point, wide point, obviously various colors. I would advise more colors the better because you get a wider variety of various books to make it authentic. We chose to go with a couple books in our shelf are real books. The Grimm Brothers is a real book. The Handbook for the Recently Deceased, it's from a popular movie. War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, it's a very known book. Then you just add like little details. These candles, they're battery operated light candles. These little mice, you can buy them at your local dollar store. But you really want to focus on the details. The bookshelf itself is fine, but the details will make it. So next we have the light fixture. I found some LED flame lights on Amazon. Once again, Amazon is your best friend when you're planning a Halloween party or really any party that you're planning on decorating. These lights are pretty cheap. You can shop around for the best deals. I used your basic cardboard. If you have a resource of cardboard, you can utilize that, or you can buy cardboard from your local hardware store. I used an X-Acto knife to cut out the details. And then just some spray paint. I chose to use metallic spray paint. It's got metal flakes in it to give it that look like it's actual metal. So with the light fixtures, I googled Victorian home light fixtures, and this is what came up. This is a specific design that came up. I drew it with a Sharpie. I cut it out with an X-Acto knife. It's not perfect, but you don't have to be perfect. If you're looking for the creepy, old, antique, it works. It doesn't have to be straight edge. It gives it that rustic look. Once again, if you go with the metallic spray paint, that works because it gives it that old metal look. So here, behind all the details, you have the foundation, you have the wall. So 2 Halloween parties ago, I had an idea of building a false wall. There's 4 feet behind this wall of the garage. But I wanted to hide like all the tools and all of the garage items so it didn't look like a garage. So basically what I did was I went out and I bought 2x4s. You can buy 1x3s. Really, it's budget friendly. So whatever your budget entails, that's the route you want to go. But I just took it from, I followed the rafters and I took it down. Basically like you would frame a wall out, but it just followed every rafter and ceiling. So I took it all the way down to the floor, and then I found this Tyvek backer board insulation-esque material. And you just nail it to every stud that you put in. I found the best to be staples, honestly, because nails tend to go through them. Screws work, but you have to be really cautious how deep you put the screws in, because the screws will go through the foam. Once you put that up, you can paint it whatever color fits your theme. For the first year, we did a pirate theme, so I had a dungeon, and I cut out the dungeon doors. And then I did 1x2s, and I made the grates for the dungeon doors. Well, after that party, I left it up. It was convenient to leave it up, and I honestly kind of liked the look. But the next year, it fit the theme, so what I did was I filled in those dungeon door gaps with the same foam that I had bought previously. I used a paint sprayer. I picked my color. I sprayed the top. I sprayed the bottom. And then I bought this bench rail from my local hardware store. I chose a color that seemed fitting. I painted it. So for the bottom of the wall, I found some pretty thick. It's probably, if I had to guess, I'd say half an inch thick cardboard. I cut it out to mimic a wainscoting theme. And then basically you just pick the light and the dark shade of whatever color you're picking to give it some dimension. I chose to screw it in because the screws tend to hold through the cardboard into the foam. They do a pretty good job. You can also add some adhesive on the back of your cardboard in case you're worried about it peeling off or falling off. But the screws that I used held pretty well. The party was in October and it's March and they're still on the wall, so that does pretty good. So, if you guys didn't know, this is my noble steed Ned. He's a good boy. He deserves a drink. That's Ned. So for the wallpaper pattern on the top part of the wall, we wanted to give it the Victorian theme wallpaper look. I thought about it for a while, and the best possible route that I came up with was a design pattern printer. It cuts the paper to a design for a stencil. I googled a Victorian wallpaper theme, and this is the best one that I found. So I printed out a couple stencils because you will need multiple. And I just started laying the pattern out, a couple stencils at a time. I chose the color spray paint that I wanted to go with. I do recommend using a respirator if you choose to go spray paint because the fumes do get pretty overwhelming if you're in an enclosed space. If you are in an enclosed place, please use ventilation because like I said, it does get overwhelming. But then you just repeat your pattern over and over until you're satisfied. And that's how we got what we got. So here we have the fireplace. It's kind of like the focal point of the false wall. Basically, it's not what it looks like because behind the wood of the fireplace, it's constructed of cardboard boxes. Now those cardboard boxes are reused and recycled like we preach. So the previous party we had was an Egyptian theme, and the outside decor was basically the pyramid that you enter into, and we built that out of the cardboard boxes. So reuse, recycle. Those cardboard boxes are now the backer of the fireplace. Basically what I did was I stacked them up, I screwed them together with 2-inch drywall screws, and then for the faceplate I used some OSB board and some sanded plywood. Cut it down to size, whatever your sizes are. I trimmed it out with poplar, 1 by I believe they're 4-inch, 1x4-inch poplar. Spray paint it to the color of your liking. Once again, Amazon is your friend. The LED flame lights came from Amazon. You can buy them in bundle packs, packs 2, 3, 4. I found these nice decorative pieces at my local hardware store. They were actually on clearance, so I picked them up. As well as some of these decorative pieces that, like this angle piece, it was also on clearance. There's no reason to spend a lot of money on this stuff. You shop the clearance, you shop the resale stores. More times than not, you'll find what you need. You go to the top, it's just a piece of plywood that I had left over from another party. It's painted, it's sanded, it fits the theme. We did add some hooks here in the middle of the fireplace where during the party, for the party, we added a decorative piece that sat in those hooks. Now as you go on top, you can decorate the top however you want. We chose to use mice from the local dollar store. There were some LED battery operated candles. We had the candelabrum up top. And then for the main piece over the fireplace, if you ever seen any Disney movies or anything like that, any old time movies, you always see the head of the household, their picture is always above the fireplace. So I went to my local office store and I printed off a picture of a royal looking portrait of myself. It was actually pretty funny. Like, everybody in the party thought that it was a talking point. A lot of people didn't notice that it was actually me at the beginning of the party, and as the party went on, they came up to me and they were like, "Man, that's awesome. That's hilarious." I had various comments, and that's what it was for. It wasn't because, it's my house. It was for humor. And that's what the party's all about. It's about having a good time. It's about humor. So it was actually a pretty good piece. You have to add some cobwebs and some other fine details to make it what it is. But the fireplace turned out to be a really big hit. And actually, people actually sat in front of it like it was actually putting off heat. So it was a good time.
This is probably perhaps one of the best things I think we built. Now, Aaron will probably say, man, maybe not, because he built the fireplace and he built the bookshelf and the wall, but we both did this together here. And this is one of the first projects that we did. And what we wanted to do was build like a stairs to the mansion. So we thought it looked pretty cool that just have like a stairs out of here with the no post going into like a second floor that didn't exist. Now, if you go back to our Haunted Mansion videos that we have online there, you'll notice that we have a ghost up here at the set of the stairs, plus some bats and some lights. But basically how we did this is we put some 4x4s here for the no post and some slats. Very cheap. And believe it or not, a lot of this is cardboard. It's not the specs. It's not 7 inches by 8 inch treads. It's very basic, and you can't stop. You couldn't step on that because you'd fall through. In fact, when we were building it, Aaron was back here crawling around, and we were just thinking, well, I can put a nail up here and step on this, and we stepped on it and we fell through it. So that doesn't work. It's just there for look. It's not sturdy at all. So if you step on it, it's done. That's why we put these chains on here to keep our guests from crawling up there. But we just think that this is probably one of the, well, like I said, I think it's one of the coolest things that we built. So I hope you like it.
Back at you live with a full Bud Light Lime. That's how we do it in the Roost.
All right, so you just did the little tour here. Well, we showed you the little tour. We talked about the various props that we have. We do have some other ones here. We have the back wall that we didn't show you, and we have the side wall, and of course we have the back here. But that's kind of our process, and now, you know, we've got together here tonight, and we've been having a good time, I must say. And we're just now starting to think about what we want to do next year. And we had the conversation earlier.
So basically, like, we have a process. Every year, early in the year, we always get together and we share ideas. Typically, we have the party in October. We discuss again March, April, May, sometime in that time frame of just various ideas that we've had during that period of time that we haven't gotten together. We like to take a little bit of time off from the Halloween party to just be with family and be away from Halloween for a little bit. But we get right back at it. And Halloween is one of the things that's always on my mind. How can we outdo ourselves next year? So we've had various conversations tonight about what we are going to do this year for the party. And typically what we do is we write these ideas down, and then we'll meet again in, a month, maybe 2 months, and we'll reconvene on these ideas. I'll share some of my ideas with Todd. Todd will take my ideas home, and he'll think about them, and he'll bring his ideas back. And we like to meet in the middle. Hey, you have a better idea than I do. Maybe I can improve his ideas. He can improve mine. We work off each other. And that's the best way to do a party if you're going with a partner. If you're going by yourself, you don't have that. You just go off your own ideas. But luckily I have Todd, and Todd's a mastermind.
Yeah. I'll say one thing about this, and I think Aaron will attest to this, and a lot of people don't get this, but maybe if you're watching this, you will. Aaron and I are both visual people. We can think of an idea, and we don't have to draw it out. We can just visually see it in our mind. And when we try to explain that, what are you doing? That's not going to be any good. That's not going to be fine. But
it always is.
It is.
It always is.
Why should people judge us now after 5 years of having great Halloween parties? Can't you trust us by now?
The people that come to our parties, they do say, they've been to other Halloween parties, and they always say that for first-time comers to our parties, they expect the run-of-the-mill wall decor from your local dollar store. And there's nothing against that. If that's what you're doing, then that's awesome. I'm glad you're taking the initiative to do that. But we just take it to the next step. And maybe the step beyond that. We go really in depth with it, and people are always really taken back by how much detail we put into our props, because we want our parties to be more of an experience than an actual party. We want people to have a good time, but we want people to take the time to look at the detail that we put into it. It's a one-of-a-kind thing that we like to do. It's our passion.
And the other thing is, you look at the props that we do, and these aren't the best props. They are quick and easy, and we build them on the thought that, man, they're not going to be here next year because we are working with limited space, and so we're just trying to make the illusion of what we have here. And under dark circumstances, it's fine. So we're not doing like a lot of like super fine detail, and things might look a little rough, but the overall picture, I think it looks pretty damn good. And we've come a long way, I think. And the people that came to the party this year, they would agree.
Right. I mean, like Todd said, we're not Hollywood professionals. We don't do latex and special effects. It is a run-of-the-mill Halloween party, if you will, but we just take it to that next level. We do work with a budget. We reuse. We recycle. It's not movie quality, but it is top-notch neighborhood party.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
It's a party on a budget.
Everybody enjoys, and it's a very good time. And I know we were talking about what we're going to do this year. Well, we never even got to that subject, did we?
No, and honestly, we try to keep it a secret until the week of the party. So
I will say one thing. We're probably taking a look at what we have here and thinking, wow, we already got this wall here. What can we do to reuse that to make less work on ourselves? So Aaron has some ideas. I haven't really had any ideas yet, but maybe we'll do another video on exactly what we want to do. So, in case you're wondering, this right here, this is one of those foam.
yeah, it's expand foam. You can buy it from your local hardware store. It's gap filler.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
It's one of the fake fires.
Right. It's a fake
foam.
fireplace.
Yeah.
You just spray some gap filler down. Put some string lights. I chose orange for this one because it is a fireplace, fire pit, if you will. Spray a little bit more of the gap filler on top of that to hold them in place. Throw some twigs and branches, and if you want to buy some bones off of any online realtor, cheap, I would suggest. And then some spray paint. I used gray, black, and red on this one. And then you leave the plug-in part of the cord out of the expandophone, and you can plug it into an extension cord or an outlet.
And we've got some videos, if you look at our Halloween party, how we use this. So take a look at that, and I'll put a link in the description of the Halloween party here. I know this video's probably went on way too long, but hey, we're not trying to please anybody but ourselves. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you learned anything from it, good for you, and that's all I can say.
We just hope you guys have a good Halloween party next year.
Yeah, so until the next time we get together, which I hopefully is soon,
It will be.
we will talk to you later, and that's it. Adios. That's a wrap. Now we can get to the real party, right? We had an excellent time tonight.